Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline Comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to That Silverline Show on Tuesday. I am your host, Tim TK, joined as always by Jose Fuentes.
Hello.
David Rios.
Hey there.
And Cassisi Harris.
Hey, hey.
And we are talking about how you can market your horror comic tonight. And we'll also probably be doing some preparation for our special event next week, which is our annual game of Vampire the Masquerade. I'm not going to lie, I'm almost tempted to turn the back half of the show just into going over character creation with David and Jose, because I love Vampire. For those of you who don't know, Vampire the Masquerade is, I don't want to speak for Jose, but I'm pretty confident it's both the favorite role-playing system for both Jose and myself.
Yeah.
And just one of my favorite roles as well. So any chance I can to run it, I will. We do have some housekeeping, though, before we get into tonight's main subject, and that is our ongoing Kickstarter. Silverline double feature, Cray number 1 and 2, and Switchblades number 1 through 3. We are currently at $830 of a goal of $1,750. We have 11 days to go, so if you want to help us get over that hump, head on over to SilverlineComics, or head over to Kickstarter and type in Silverline, and you'll be brought right to it, or head over to SilverlineComics.com to find it on our front page. We do have a little ad for you all here. Hello. Yeah, no. I have too many audio devices, and I need to send it to the right one on my end so I don't end up blasting my microphone.
Hi, I'm Roland Mann, and I am the head honcho at Silverline Comics, where we love making comics. And I'm here to tell you about our next Kickstarter. This is our 27th Kickstarter. Believe it? I know I can't. 27. That means we have successfully funded and shipped and fulfilled 26 before this. So I'm telling you, before you even hear anything, pledge with confidence. But I'm going to stop yakking. Here I am to tell you about the first of our books on the Kickstarter. Take it away, Roland.
Switchblade is the story of Scott Nathans. Set in New Orleans, Scott is just a small-time boxer hanging out, trying to make day-to-day. But he gets fed up with the justice system when a couple of killers are let loose by the justice system because the policeman forgot to read them their Miranda rights. And everyone knows that they killed this little girl and did nasty, despicable things to him. So Scott decides to take justice into his own hands, and he becomes a Switchblade.
Didn't that sound cool? Yeah, I thought so too. So here I am to tell you about the next book on our Kickstarter. Take it away, Roland.
Cray is a sci-fi fantasy story of a world in which mutants and humans are at war. Many on both sides want peace, but during a mutant raid on a human village, a young human boy is taken as a battle prize and then raised by a family of mutants. Trained from a very young age in the ways of war, Cray dreams of becoming a member of the Red Guard. Basically, it's the Delta Force of the world. Until, that is, his village is raided once again.
Whoa! Those sound so cool. I know you think so because I think so. And I like really cool comic books. And I know you like really cool comic books. So, back it if you can, share it if you will, and remember to make mine Silverline.
So yeah, that is our current ongoing Kickstarter. As we have mentioned several times before, there are, of course, special rewards for backing at higher tiers, as well as a cover inked by one Mr. Jose Fuentes.
Penciled cover, penciled.
Oh yes, yes, cool.
One of the Cray covers I penciled.
Yes, I believe it's cover B, right?
Yes, sir.
Number B.
Yep.
So go ahead and make sure you get that cover sent to you if you want to get some original illustration from Jose. And of course, we have our t-shirts, which you can also buy at SilverlineComics.com. And add any one of our back issues as well. If you are a retailer, of course, there is the retailer package that we always offer at the starting at the $25 mark, $20 mark actually. So that will get your shop stocked for the release. So again, Kickstarter, type in Silverline Comics, hover SilverlineComics.com, buy some of our books, and help us get this next project funded. Again, the books are already completed. This is pretty much just a glorified pre-order that allows us to make sure our printing costs are covered up front. So, all that said and done, does anyone else have any news, announcements, or anything we need to get into before we get into tonight's show?
Not I.
Okay.
I mean, does everyone want to know that I bought more Transformers?
I mean, that's certainly something you could fit into the preamble ramble.
Right.
How much you talk about Transformers?
That's a given. That's not a guessing thing.
It really kind of is. Yeah.
Yeah. The question is, though, what Transformers did you get?
Oh, I bought several. I bought Road Rocket and was it Crasher? I think are the two latest ones I bought.
Okay.
And you got your birthday Ironhide, right?
Yeah. So okay, I have a 2-pack set for Ironhide and Prowl getting blasted on the arc. Then I have Ironhide. Was a Studio 86 Ironhide, and then my wife bought me two of those little Dinobots that make Volcanicus. She bought me 2 more, and I have Skids and Minerva. I got a lot. I can't even. This was a very Transformer prosperous birthday for me.
Fantastic. Nice. Love to hear it. My preamble ramble. I had another Goodwill find. I haven't started. So Patrick Rothfuss has recently rose to fame in fiction writer circles for writing the King Killer Chronicles. I picked up the first book a while ago, Name of the Wind, but I haven't got a chance to read it yet. However, when I was going through my local Goodwill, I found the second book in the trilogy for like $2. So,
oh, nice!
It's a fairly new book too. So that's made me
very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually found my wife a book that she needed, like for midwifery stuff, at Goodwill. Someone had donated
nice. Yeah, that's always my favorite. I recently had a friend who was taken up doing Goodwill shopping for his golf clubs.
Nice.
A bunch of burners. Yeah.
Those are the ones you chuck into the pond.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If you shank it just right, you're going to shatter the neck, but that's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. We don't have anything else for the preamble ramble. Into tonight's episode. So last week we talked about horror comics, and well, we've been talking about horror comics for a little bit, but we've established a couple things about creating horror, what makes a comic horror as about or a horror subgenre, and the general appeal of the genre, causing you to get that adrenaline rush, making you giving you the psychological effect of having faced a fear even though you have not actually done so. But your brain doesn't know the difference, so it gives you the good chemicals. So tonight we're talking about how you as an independent creator can actually go about and market those comics, how you get yourself seen by an audience and rise above some of the noise you might find, or even just get someone to pick up your comic. So the first thing I want to talk about is a tie into another episode we had recently with Pops on, talking about social media and online presence. So I'll kind of be answered by with a open up the general questions, as we've all established that we're all at different places with our own digital presences. Some of us have all to different degrees, and then some people are a digital hermit like Jose.
Proudly,
yes.
I wear that shirt with pride.
So I want to talk about a lot of comics now, however, especially for independent, rely on having some sort of online community or online communication just to get something pushed out there, just in front of some people's eyes. And look at that from the lens of horror comics. So if you're trying to build a community, if you're trying to build engagement, but you're working in the horror genre, what do you think will make that different than you would interacting with more traditional comics like capes or action adventure, anything like that?
I think the difference, like cape stuff, superhero stuff. Everyone loves superhero stuff, right? Like when you're like a little kid, you love superhero stuff. That I think is probably super easy to market, right? But for horror stuff, it's kind of a niche, genre that like I think you still have the same options for marketing, but the market that you're aiming towards is more narrow. And I don't know.
See, to that
the gimmick covers, you know what I mean?
Gimmick covers, yeah. I was going to say, to your point about it being niche, I almost find that, like you said, you have the same options. But I find that operating a niche market can almost make it easier to rise above some of the noise because there's less noise to compete with.
Yeah,
because you have the option of being a bigger fish in a smaller pond. So there's less people who are specifically horror comic creators online. So if that is, what you're drilling in 100%, but you do need to commit to the bit for a little bit. So if you're wanting to branch out and do multiple genres at once, it might be a little hard. But if you're only illustrated and only writing horror comics for a while, I feel like if you make that your entire personality online, you're going to have less people to compete with.
Mm. I wonder though, in that particular niche, it's hard to be original now. I know I say that you can be original with the type of art, with the way that you tell a story, but gosh, how many times have you, it's either going to be gory, it's either going to be a monster, I don't know. And maybe because I'm not a horror person by, choice, but I guess you could say the same thing about an action movie. How many times are you just going to shoot a gun at somebody to kill them on a revenge spree? I don't know.
Right. Well, that's like the weird thing you have to come with is you have to find ways to make your own stuff original its own way.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is in some way pastiche or derivative. I mean, if you want a really weird thought experiment, has anyone read Dante's Inferno or The Divine Comedy?
Heard a lot about them, but I've never read them. Yeah,
I haven't read it.
The arc of the John Wick movies is just a reinterpretation of Dante's Inferno. The man losing the memento of his wife and venturing into hell and then being guided by different spirits until his own death.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about that. Now I'm never gonna watch that movie the same way.
Right, it's really weird to. They had an interview where right before the John Wick 4 came out, where Keanu Reeves and I forgot the director's name, but they're both on it, and we're talking about how John Wick was directly inspired by the Dante's Inferno and giving all the comparisons and metaphors, and it was just a really weird thing to listen to all the thought they put into a movie about a guy who kills a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did he really kill them because of his wife, or did he do it because of the dog?
I think the answer is yes to both.
Right. Well, okay.
Or did they do it because they stole his car?
That's true. As a Mustang owner, I will confirm that if someone steals my Mustang, I will.
You will John Wick them?
Yes.
As a writer, it's going to be very hard for you to continue if we take your pencils away from you.
This is true.
That's not true. I've seen the movie Quills.
Cool.
Oh.
All right.
Just so you know, people who haven't seen it, you need to watch it.
Do you have any other thoughts on online communities or online engagement specifically?
I don't know.
This is because I'm so not into like as much being like social media stuff. Like I have my Facebook, I have my Instagram, and it's like pulling teeth trying to post on them or to follow people, and I have to go read their stuff, and I'm like, can you just say it to me, please?
It's gonna be another one of our episodes. We just sit down with Jose and make you create a Threads account and go.
I don't know about comics, but would you say in recent years, the closer you can get to reality, I think like a Blair Witch Project or something, the closer you can get to, like
kind of that is it real? Is it not marketing?
Right.
Yeah.
The closer you can get to that, the more you can draw people into whatever it is that you're trying to push.
I think that depends on the property itself that you're trying. When did they open that window? The property itself you're trying to market. Because there's some things where I don't think if it's something that is in a contemporary time, the closer you can make it feel to reality, the better you do. But if you're doing like a historic horror or a science fiction horror, you kind of need to find. You can still do multimedia marketing or an altered reality game for marketing, but you need to find another way about that. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. There was related, but not a comic. There was a while ago when I was working with an experimental music group, did a concept album that was all like backwoods witch horror based type vibes, so very Blair Witch. And so for that, did Instagram marketing with just a bunch of like super grainy black and white pictures from like the bayous of Florida. Very vague media, whatever. We created a hashtag for it and all that stuff. So if you're doing something where you're writing a story or illustrating a story that is set in the real world and about now, if you like take some of your illustrations and then try to render them to make them look somewhat realistic or create like fake music rules for a story, I could definitely see that being a valid strategy.
I'm so bad at
All right. That's okay. You can probably give some thoughts on this section then. So transition from online communities to physical communities. Talking about now expanding to roles of conventions and events, specifically when you're doing a horror story. Because if you're doing a cape thing, like you do your big Comic-Cons and any small ones or independent cons that you like, but that might get you pretty well set. What I think is really interesting is that there are several conventions dedicated to just horror without necessarily being in comics. So those would also be a very good venue to get into, even though you're going to be like propped up between like maybe like small independent horror movies, but you're still offering a product which, if you're doing a horror comic in that setting, may also be a little more unique and might be able to get a little more drive because of that.
So you get some pretty good people going to, like, because I did Day of the Dead Con, which is in Georgia, and that is like, horror like themed basically, because they had a bunch of, funny enough, they had the lady from I Dream of Jeannie there. I wouldn't consider her horror, but she was a delight. But like that particular convention was very much like obviously focused around like horror and like different kind of music that like feeds into that same particular genre, that same inspiration. And I was there tabling with a friend of mine who had horror books, so I was doing sketches there of that nature. But like if you've never been to one like that, a horror convention one, it's it's pretty hype, man. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that the amount of people that came to the show would have been as great as it was. It was pretty big. And maybe because like that's not as much as I love like horror books, and like I've mentioned before, I love gothic horror. I never really did a convention with that particular focus before. You know, so like doing that show, it was actually pretty cool, and like talking to people who that's the thing. Like I do it because it's I love comics. You know what I mean? Just all around comics. But these people, like, that was their focus, and that was the one thing that they did, be it artwork or like like the horror movie genre like stuff. It was pretty interesting to go to. Like I definitely felt like a fish out of water because I didn't actor dress like any of them. Like I went there looking like a comic book guy, and everybody's dressing like leather and spikes and all kinds of stuff, and I'm just like, this is the neatest thing I've ever been to.
Well, if you think about, how long some of these horror themed interest groups have been. I mean, think about like the, Fangoria. How many decades has Fangoria been around? And
the book, yeah.
And
magazine. It's a magazine, right?
It's magazine, yeah. And a lot of the cons and things are built around that. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me, when you're talking about the amount of people. It's extremely popular, and it's been popular for a very long time. And then you've got some of the horror stuff blending in with some of the older period pieces like the Conan stuff and things like that. So you have a lot of blending on that as well. So yeah. Some big interest there, and a lot of cons. A lot of people really get into it. You kind of see a lot of the people who cycle through. They spend their time on the superhero stuff, doing a lot of the cosplay, superhero stuff, and then they shift to the horror stuff, and and sometimes they'll shift to the Ren Fair stuff, and yeah, there's a lot of cross interest there between the different mediums. So it's very cool.
What did you use your background?
I have a green screen, so I figured I might as well use it.
I completely forgot that that's what that was.
Is that
talking over your shoulder?
Who is that? That kind of reminds me of Dan Brereton's stuff.
I don't know who did the illustration, but it is the cover photo for Vampire Survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you look like there for a little bit like you had lost a transformer and you were looking for it. So
peeking around Jose's room, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we talked about leveraging your digital platforms, leveraging your physical platforms. So if you are trying to make this your bread and butter, which I feel like when you're first breaking into comics, finding the niche, or any creative medium really, finding the niche that you can dig deep in to penetrate can be very helpful. So do you have any thoughts on how we can leverage digital, physical, any sort of involvement into creating your own spooky, creepy brand?
I think that you need to not just focus on like just trying to scare people with like having the art that's scary. And I say that because I was looking at there's another art creator on like Carissa Grant, and she has a book called Redemption, and it's like a horror Egyptian-esque, you know what I mean, story. And she definitely has like other creators that come in, like have done covers for her. Like I feel that the covers are very macabre, and in like the feel of it, like the dark colors. You know what I mean? But she doesn't just do like promote that for her company. She also does like chibi. Okay, so one of the main dudes is Anubis, right? But she has like a chibi Anubis, you know what I mean, plushie, chibi Anubis stickers, like or more almost kid friendly esque. So they're still promoting for their horror book, but slightly kind of bridging into to bring other like younger readers in if that's something they're interested in, or even just the vibe of those particular types of stickers. You know what I mean? Like just like the different merch that you can bring in for your books, for your for your genre, or the book that you're trying to crowdfund, the book that you're trying to put out. Just I guess diversifying your merchandise is what I'm saying.
I can say that one of the things, one of the styles that I really liked was the Darkstalkers video game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, it came out at the height of, Street Fighter, with the Street Fighter Alpha 2D cell animation, and was the system that actually brought that into play. And they had such an interesting take on the monster designs and the special moves that they did. I don't know if any of you have actually gone through and really looked at it, but if you look at it, for example, Dimitri the vampire, if you think of Street Fighter and you always think about, hey, here is the the fireball, and they just throw the fireball out. If you look at Dimitri, he actually transforms from a human looking to a full vampire with wings as he's doing the move. And Morgan, I believe when she does, like, she backs up, it's like all these little creatures are by her feet and flow, and there's a lot of huge amounts of information and things that they've put into these moves to keep within the theme. So that's, to me, is a great example, because you're marketing to a bunch of your at the time teenagers and that who are big, huge Street Fighter fans, but you're bringing this horror monster element into that to give a whole new dimension on that. So some pretty cool.
I've never played it at all.
Mm-hmm. It's been pretty popular. They've had they've had in the US, I think, 3 games, possibly 4. They brought some of the characters into the main Marvel versus Capcom games, stuff like that. So yeah, it's been pretty pronounced, and the Puzzle Fighter and stuff like that. So
I've seen them all, never played them.
Yeah.
Well, it does mention, like they said, really good marketing there. Anytime that you can find something that's currently popular in a zeitgeist that you can capitalize on and then make it into your own, you'll usually end up doing well for the moment. So we had that whole moment where late 2000s you had very over-the-top action movies were very popular. So then we ended up getting I, Frankenstein, like Dracula Untold, the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked I, Frankenstein. I thought that was great.
It was interesting.
The Tempted Monster Universe from Universal.
Yes, yeah.
So close, man. I was so semi-excited for that. Like, yes, please do something with it.
Honestly, I just want somebody to do something with the Legacy of Kain franchise because it's just sitting there.
Dude. Yes.
Like, make the TV show, make some new games, give
Something.
me the comic rights, something.
I think that was one of the first games I actually beat.
That's a good one.
That was like was it Soul Reaver? That one, not
Legacy of Kain 2? Yeah, Soul Reaver.
Yeah, Soul Reaver was one of the first games I ever actually beat.
Yeah.
And if you've ever watched our streams before, people that are listening in or whatnot, I've mentioned that I don't do well playing video games. I like to play them from time to time, but I'm never good at beating them.
That was that one meme of someone's like, so you play games a whole lot? And, yeah, I play them almost every day. Are any good? Nervous sweating.
That's pretty much me.
Well, I played Mortal Kombat against a friend of mine. Yeah, I knew a couple of brothers. The younger brother was literally a fighting game phenom. He's a video game phenom. But he beat me at Mortal Kombat 50 games in a row.
Jeez.
So I'm like, all right, I'm not that great, but he went and he played, just to give you an example, the Street Fighter Alpha as Ken on the hardest difficulty and never got hit once. He perfected every single level. So in my defense, he was a phenomenal player and all that, but I'm kind of a little bit up in this way here, Mr. Jose Fuentes corner. I'm decent, but there's a lot of people better than I am.
At least I'm honest about it. When I play games like Call of Duty and stuff like that, I let people know if it's people I haven't played with before, like, just so you know, I'm here for the average. I'm your handicap, just so you know. Don't expect much from me.
Okay. Well,
sorry about the tangent.
how's your Arc server doing though? Because that's something I know you have been grinding.
That makes me cry right now because Arc officially closed.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're moving over to Arc 2 or whatever it is.
Yeah, Arc. Well, no, not Arc 2. That's still years later because they're dumb. But they're doing a new version of Arc under the Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to drop towards the end of October.
Okay, so we'll have for some time for Jose to get a fresh start on that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I sort of know what I'm doing in that game, so just so you people know.
So back on our main topic.
I blame Dave.
I'm as guilty. But another, you talk about branching into, other interests and things, and we've talked about it before. But another great example of that is the Joe Schreiber Star Wars horror zombie.
Oh yeah,
that is another great example of crossing into other mediums to expand the horror feel.
Red Harvest.
Yeah, if you're interested in anything Star Wars and you haven't already, either through like Kindle, Audible, or Barnes & Noble, wherever you can find it, check your local library. See if you can't get a copy of Red Harvest and Death Troopers and the Star Wars Legends set.
Has everybody finished the Ahsoka stuff?
I have.
Is that a no this season? Is that a no?
I'm not a Star Wars fan though. I know.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay, so we can.
You wouldn't spoil it if you said anything to me. No?
Yeah. It's been over a week or two, so we're past the fair warning period.
Okay.
Right.
Warning: this may contain spoilers for blah, blah. Okay. but
Buddy.
the inclusion of the two Death Troopers that Sabine and Ezra were fighting, just the whole just screamed Death Troopers to me.
Yep.
I think that was very well done. Very well done. So I have to commend them for bringing that aspect into the show.
I just have to share this because, I mean, you can't beat that cover.
That's nice. That's awesome.
Right?
Well, what about the previous cover? The
other one, yeah, because I know this is the new one, but I'm trying to find, because the old cover is actually out of print now, which is super annoying, but it is the one I like the more, which is the Stormtrooper helmet hanging from the meat hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if they're both books are tied to each other. Red Harvest takes place 1,000 years before, and kind of is a history of how things went. So definitely, if you pick up one,
that is not the cover I have for Red Harvest.
You also have the original cover, yeah.
Yeah.
But the I will okay. So I like the old Death Troopers cover better, but I like the new Red Harvest cover better because the old Red Harvest cover is just that Sith-looking dude, in a full red field. I like having the zombie Sith hand rising out of the snow.
Show that cover again. That's the one you showed, right? The Red Harvest cover.
Yeah. Speaking of developing good spooky brands and good spooky art,
yeah, that's cool.
You're throwing in something that's slightly unsettling, but not showing the full monster. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
You're just doing enough to make it look off. But I feel like if you're creating your marketing materials, never show your monster in any promotions or. If you can, always beat around the bush in a way that is just slightly unsettling.
Right.
In how you talk about it, and the art you create, whatever you can do, just be slightly obtuse with how you market your spooky stuff.
See, I think they did a good job when they put out what was it, Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
Because it was just a picture of the cabin, like Rubik's Cube, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you knew there was a little funkiness going on, but you didn't know at all what it was about until you got into it. That was some cool, to me, cool marketing. That was a sweet movie poster.
Yeah. I like. Yes. Speaking of which, if anyone in chat has any questions about marketing horror stuff, throw it in chat, and we'll get to it at the end here.
Have you seen transmedia campaigns, like literal transmedia? I would think that that's what you would want to do for horror, but I don't know that I've ever really seen that done. People just touch on a home video.
Everyone talks about it, but never does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I for comics, I feel like unless you're Marvel or DC, getting the resources to do proper transmedia is super hard.
Would it be? Would it be for any comic?
Yeah, with things getting more accessible though, like now it's getting to a point where it's very affordable to make your own app.
Yeah.
But like even just like 5 years ago, that would be a huge investment for an independent creator. But now it's getting to a point where if you have time and a little bit of camera know-how, you can easily go through, create your own like mini reading series on YouTube or art panel series on YouTube. I know what Sid did for one of his books is he created a set of short stories set in the universe, and then did essentially a set of like small audiobooks or dramatic readings over YouTube and leading into the release of it. Yeah, so I do some sort of ARG using an app that will superimpose something on people's cameras. So, Regal is a really interesting one, which trying to find ways to co-op that into your own programming would be interesting. But the Regal app has interesting ARG where you have like digital video, like movie posters or billboards, so we can essentially like pull your phone up and then set them throughout your office. That way, whenever someone looks through the Regal app in your office or whatever, they'd see all these billboards of movies that you've seen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like the Regal Cinema app?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's like, then yes, for the problem with some ARGs is you also need to then promote the ARG or do stuff like that. So you need to have a lot of time to be willing to invest that time into the project that you're creating.
But you don't even have to go that far though, right? You could literally just use different forms of media to convey like little things in the world to finally get to the end project, right? Like you could make a short really quick. You could have someone draw a picture. You could write several short stories that lead to a reading, and they don't all need to be. Maybe they all need to be connected by a site, a hub, but they don't really need to be in an app. I would just think that maybe I don't know. Maybe the time associated with doing that is what really pushes people away. But
yeah, I know a lot of comic creators are already like turned off by having to market their own stuff, so asking them to then create additional material.
That's true. It's
yeah.
True. Yeah.
But I mean, if you're taking time to like create your own, especially if you're doing something that's like a full universe, like if you're writing a comic series that's going to be at least 12 issues, maybe longer, I could definitely there's creating all that additional content and then giving that content away for free, essentially to draw people to your book.
Yeah.
We'll also do a lot to build relational equity with your readers. That way they feel much more invested by the time you get to your book.
Yeah. And you can figure out which area draws you the biggest crowd.
Yeah.
I feel like when you first start out, you may not know that if you just try and stick to like the conventional route.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tap into an interesting market of folks, if you dip your toes in all those different ponds at first and then just concentrate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely. Shotgunning content out there is definitely and engaging the reaction. So you then from that point where to focus on. But you also have to make sure that you give yourself enough time to gauge reaction, because you may end up taking 9 months to build traction on threads, but then the threads may end up outpacing your Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is. So taking that time to actually like get an idea of what's pacing well. As being someone who works in marketing, always give your campaigns at least 9 months to figure out what is actually doing what.
Is that before? I take it as you said 9 months. Is that before like kickstarting or crowdfunding your project?
9 months. I mean, if you have the foresight to do so 9 months ahead of time, I definitely recommend getting that far ahead of your material. Like you don't want to be like a full year out, but 9 months is a good enough time to develop good organic traffic. If you don't have that foresight for when the next project is, but you're consistently creating and are just pretty much maintaining a consistent online brand or physical brand or wherever your stuff is, whenever you start a new channel or start a new account or are tracking something, always look at it in sort of 9 month increments. So if you've been creating books for so long and not necessarily promoting anything in particular, but you are a creator that is then making an account on a new social media platform, give it 9 months to see how the lifespan of a platform is and how well it actually tracks to see if it's worth investing more time or not.
I will say the worst thing for me to do is, like I said before, was to post stuff on social media, because as just not to be a content creator, but like just to post stuff to get my name out there as an artist. And like I said, it's rough, especially when I'm in the middle of projects. You know what I mean? I know people are like, "Oh, I'm working on something. Here's something I did earlier." And I'm like, oh, I gotta post it again. But like, having to post my own stuff, like it's on. You laugh at me, Kasisi, but it's.
I understand.
I
understand it completely. I do.
Meanwhile, I'm over here and I'm making TikToks minimum weekly, cross-posting YouTube shorts, doing my own video editing.
Right.
Actually, you can clip some highlights from most recent stream.
And not to myself seem old. I did just recently learn how to do reels, so on Instagram.
There you go.
Couple months ago or so, I had to ask my daughter.
As long as you're not asking her how to download a PDF, I think you're good.
No, I got that one. For the most part, like utilizing my computer as a tool, I can do social media, like internet-y stuff. Oh, sometimes I feel like my dad.
Right. It is a weird thing, but if we're thinking about it, like social media is just another layer of tool. It's just back in the day, you had the town board or like the community board where like at the local coffee shop or at the post office, even you had the town board with all the job postings, and then the community board with all the community events, and then if you're putting something, you post it there. Now this essentially is just that, but on a grander scale, with the ability to build an even bigger community. The nice thing about being a creator now is back in the day, you're pretty much creating just for people in your suburb or hometown, and then if it's spread out, fantastic. That was the whole zine section of the 90s. Now you could spend $5, get a WordPress website, make a zine on there, and be popping in Dubai. You can take care of it well enough.
Nobody knows you in your neighborhood, but in Dubai.
Yep. Okay.
Dubai's on my list, Tim. We need to go to Dubai.
I would actually be down at some point. Yeah.
It's on the list, buddy.
Okay. And something that's given as classic advice, we kind of hit in on what we've been talking about just now. Something that's classically given as advice for creators, but I don't know if it's as necessary now as it used to be. But maintaining your own website. I definitely see value there once you become more established as a repository of these are all my works that you can buy here. Or if you're an artist, it's a really good way to maintain a portfolio that is easily accessible. But I've been seeing more and more content creators that essentially just link to their Comixology page in their bio.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is everything I'm credited on. Go buy it there. So I want to grab your opinions on: do you maintain your own website? Do you see value in it? Do you think there's more value down the line when someone has created more of a backlog of books for a reader to buy?
I have mine, but I'm horrible. Horrible. Keeping it up. I just figured I'd buy the domain name because no one is going to have my name, and just keep it and then figure out how to leverage it later. But gosh, I'm horrible.
Yeah, me too. I've already had this conversation with Tim. He knows.
Yeah.
One of the things. I've had mine. I actually have a .net because I used to have the .com, but that one slipped away. And once you lose it, they want thousands of dollars for it. But I've kept drios.net for probably 15 years, but I haven't done anything with it. So I'm pretty much in the same boat, and I've been going through and finding a lot of things because I've been kind of rehashing some of the Ultraverse stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, there I am. Yeah, there's a page, and so I've kind of been rebuilding my library of stuff, and hope to get some, kind of use it as a portable gallery. So
the hard part is, how do you know when it's good enough to put it on your webpage when you first start out? That's the kicker, right? Like, you don't just want to put everything on there. You want to put the good stuff.
I don't say that when you're first starting out, unless there's something that is truly atrocious, throw everything up there, just like take the target approach, because you need to have something to show that you've done any kind of work.
Yeah.
Because having done bad work is what allows you to do good work in a weird way.
That's funny.
Well, that's another thing is, when I was working at Malibu, everything was on tiers. So you had, everything starting at like bronze level pages, which is all flats, to silver level that had some gradients and stuff. And then you got a gold and platinum and whatever. So, it'd be pretty cool to put, some of the stuff for, like, here's some stuff I did on Hulk. But at the time, the Hulk books weren't selling a lot, so those were like, bronze or silver level and all that stuff. So there's some good stuff kind of mixed in, because we would see all kinds of books, and it would be Marvel stuff coming in, it would be Ultraverse stuff coming in, it would be some of the actual Malibu stuff, like some of the Star Trek stuff, Mission Impossible, did a book on that. So you just get a whole mix of things, and some of the things were, if you got some bronze level stuff, you can knock those out pretty quick. Whereas some of the platinum level stuff you had to spend a lot of time on. So a lot of the some of the things that I want to put on there is like some of the covers I did, like the cover I did to X-Men and the cover I did to Uncanny X-Men. That's definitely stuff that's up there. Some Storm pages that I did, plus also I did some of the Fleer Overpower cards. So that would be some this is more painted type, it's absence of line art. Those were basically made from pencil sketches, but they were never inked or anything for finish. So you had some guide stuff there. So I have pretty good depth of bits and pieces over the time that I worked for that. Plus, I'll definitely be putting my my covers up for the Silverline stuff. So definitely felt pretty good about that. So yeah,
definitely. I had a website that I maintained for a while, but I haven't kept up with it because I do have a backlog of short fiction that is available for people to purchase through their various publishers. However, I found that I got more traction just going through my TikTok to my Twitch, and then my Twitch linking out to whatever. So my Twitch channel just links out to my most recent comic. If I'm depending on the game I'm playing, because some games get no viewers, but I've had before I got into comics, I was a short fiction horror writer, so all my stuff was horror themed, and I had a very spooky brand essentially. So my website was a lot of black, gray, and dark red. The first thing that someone got, if you are maintaining a website, if you have something and you have something to sell, very important, have that thing available on the front page above the fold. That should be the first button that people see. So when people first got on my page, they had my anthology that had a just black bound cover with the skeleton of a dead Pidgey bird on it.
Okay.
Their skeletons look weird, so I'm like, perfect.
That's the one.
Yep. Also, this was available to me when I was taking photos, and because I didn't want to hire a photographer or pay for stock art at the time. And with the item description to buy now, and then they had the about the blog and all that. But yeah, the only thing advice I can really get for maintaining a website, because Google changes stuff so frequently, is that have your stuff that's available for sale be the first thing people see, so it is just a very easy click for them. And if you do update some kind of blog, do it at least like once a month or something, just so Google sees that your site is active. But I didn't see the value there for myself, even with a small backlog. So track your traffic and see what works out, because if you do some other sort of media, then it might be more efficient for you just to send people through there.
Yeah, I have like my own domain name, but again, I think I made a mock web page in school, but again, never did anything with it either. Eventually, I'm gonna have to go and do something just to use it, and then I'm gonna have to actually post on it. Oh, that's more social media stuff.
Yeah.
Like, why does social media have to have it? Actually, social media is great, like for comic books and whatnot, because you can easily promote a book. You can easily like introduce the book to the world and whatnot, whether people are paying attention or not. But your level of exposure is so much better. There's so much work.
Yeah. We'll have to get Jose set up with the Threads account, and then we'll have to create like some challenges on the podcast. So the post on another person's Threads if they lose challenges, just so that way anyone might post on Jose's if he ever loses a challenge. It'll be the only way his account gets updated.
All I can say is better Jose than me.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Well, that has been about an hour. We haven't got any questions in on chat. So does anyone else have any thoughts on marketing horror comics? Anything you wanted to cover? Any thoughts yourself?
I mean, if horror is the genre you want to put stuff out on, be it comics, short stories, and whatnot. Same thing I said for was it last week or the week before? Know your audience. Know what people are interested in. You may be interested in doing this particular story, but nobody may be interested in it. So I'm sure there's a subject for everybody, but
yeah,
you might want to cater to the masses, because they're the ones picking your stuff up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be out there and hit the groups that do it, and not the groups that oppose it. Like, you don't want to do a lot of horror stuff with your local church group or something like that. That may not be the best market for it, but you never know. But hitting a lot of the sites, if that's an interest to you, joining some of the like the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and just getting some stuff out there, and make sure, obviously, when you do that these are okay things to post on there.
Right.
Each stuff's not going to be knocked down, but any kind of things where you can get to points with people that share that love of it. Go all out. Work on it, throw stuff out there constantly, do new stuff, and you'll do well.
Right. Go hang out with Tim Vigil.
It's funny, David, that you brought that up. I remember in the 90s, a big thing, I was in the church, I guess, and a big thing were hell houses. And I remember the book of Divine Revelation of Hell came out. And if you think about the horror genre, that's kind of how it seeps even into like a religious community, to where you're really participating in that horror genre in a church-like way, which is very funny. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess go ahead.
I was just saying, imagine me having to explain to my church the fact that I like horror stuff, that's why it's not, like I said, it's not the blood and gore stuff for me. It's the gothic story, right? The underlying dark romance of the whole thing.
Yeah. I guess what I was trying to say is in any type of way that it relates to you or things that you like, if you do like that type of storytelling, you can find a way to kind of weave it in a way that is respectful of the environment, I guess. It'd be interesting.
We do have a chat. QBTube, which if I remember correctly is Mr. Quentin, said repetitively posting the same places as well. Play the long game and get people used to seeing your name. Yeah, absolutely. Building top of mind awareness, and also for every post you get, you're maybe getting served to 1/3 of your followers. So in theory, you need to post at least 3 times a day to reach all of your followers. Not, to mention exposure outside of your follower count. So you'll say this with a dark ones. Blasting socials and like hitting the same platform again and again and again. There's nothing to stop you from posting to your own platform. So if you have an Instagram account, like post a couple times a day and linking out to your stuff.
I will say one of the best things that Roland showed me was using the app Buffer.
Yeah.
Because I hate X so bad. Twitter, X, it's so bad. It's so toxic. But I can use that to post on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and just schedule my post, and it'll like zap it through the interweb, like on the timetable I ask it to be.
Yes.
So
I'm just wondering how people have time for that. I never have time for that.
I will say that using apps like Buffer or back in the day TweetDeck, may she rest in peace. Anything like that where you can link it to multiple platforms that had a scheduling function where what worked for me is I didn't always feel like posting either. I maybe sometimes getting the replies, but what I would do is I'd go through and like I'd have a Sunday where I'd essentially write out a month's worth of tweets or whatever because I'm just in the mood to write. So I just go through, write all that, schedule out for a month, and I'm like, all right, there we go, we're good.
Apparently, I didn't know this, but Quentin is a Transformers. He's Quinticus Maximus.
Yes,
that's right.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. Transformer from Gladiator.
Gladiator. That's awesome. I didn't know that was Quentin.
Yes. Me either.
Right there,
yeah. He's still with us in the chats.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. We'll still have a little bit of time left in tonight's episode. So if you want to talk about promotion and giving away a little bit for free, did anyone want to make their Vampire the Masquerade character for next week's game on stream as a way to tease the upcoming game?
I have to make that character.
You just want the entire world to see how bad I am at this, right?
I think Jose's jumping on it because he's eager to bite.
Yeah, good job.
Oh, now I got to put my iPad away. Give me a minute.
So you may have to figure out a way to have our own recurring game outside the podcast, or maybe in the podcast if you end up, or as a separate podcast even, if you end up liking it, David, because Casey is interested in the recurring games because he's never had a thing like that. And every time I mention we get playing a recurring game of Vampire,
Jose's like, ooh, me.
Yeah, as in every time I mention Vampire, Jose just like jumps out. I'm not even in the same chat, and Jose jumps in.
You guys have to understand that, just like Tim, a friend of mine, Andrew, coined the phrase to me anyway. Coined it to me, the forever DM. That's me.
Yeah.
I am always the one like, oh, dude, like I love, like we should play this game. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be a great game. Like I play this character. It's like, no, we want you to run it. Thanks.
Yeah.
So I got a chance to play
again?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's. I don't know what I'm doing. Tim. My characters.
Jose, are you able to share your screen when you get in there?
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I'll show you where I'm at. Let's see. Present?
Yeah.
Share screen. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
You should be able to select just the specific tab.
Okay. I don't know that. Select tab. Okay. Oh, gotcha. All right. I'm new. Give me a break.
Okay.
All right. Share. Did I do it right? Oh, maybe not. Of course, I broke the internet.
All right. Should we call you Wreck-It Ralph or something?
Oh. I think Jose just crashed his. Well, we have to do that off stream.
It's like, hit this. Uh-oh.
Oh.
So, do you want to? Is there anything else you want to promote? Like, what's coming up on the next streams, or while we're waiting for Jose to get back?
Yeah. Well, the next stream is.
Oh, there he is.
Vampire the Masquerade, and then the one after that, our actual Halloween stream, if it is available. If not, it'll be whoever can make it in. I'm talking about. We'll be doing the tabletop RPG post-mortem, in which case, after everyone has had experience playing it, we'll be talking about how, as a content creator or storyteller, skills you can learn and develop through that RPG experience, as that has been something that's been an increasing topic of discussion amongst independent creators and gamers.
Cool. Oh, I did it.
Yes.
Woo, woo. All right, that's where I'm at, Tim.
Perfect. Click on the 3 dots next to it.
Okay.
Edit character. All right, so for those of you who don't know, next week we'll be playing Vampire the Masquerade. We'll be using the new Nexus app on Demiplane. I went ahead and paid Paradox Games and World of Darkness another $170 on top of what I've already invested to get all the books and share it with my friends. So I've bought multiple copies of the same books now, but it is worth it because this app is awesome and this game is awesome.
That's cool. Right on.
Okay. So that middle panel there, Jose, is where you're going to be typing in or choosing your stuff there.
Hey, I don't know what the dude's name was.
Yeah. This is slightly different from Roll20, but it is built specifically for the vampire system by the same company that makes Vampire. So,
for now.
I believe we should be a childer for this one. Yeah.
Oh, should I change it? I put a.
Were you a neonate?
Yeah, I put a neonate.
Oh, yeah. It should also be a childer.
Oh, man. Okay.
And then, Jose, you can select one of those portraits if you wish to, upload your own, or just wait until later on.
That guy looks cool.
There you go. And if you hit begin, it'll take if you hit begin, it'll take you to the next page.
Oh, okay.
There, let's see.
Ew. Fancy.
So for those of you who don't know, the game we play next week is Vampire the Masquerade, originally by White Wolf, and then due to some legal issues, the company almost closed and then was bought up by Paradox Games. And now they have actually started producing even more content, which has been fantastic.
Have you seen the stuff for the new Hunter?
It looks so good.
Oh, none of my friends want to play Hunter.
Oh, okay. Well, it's also on Nexus, and their deal is you get stuff about 50% off, so you can buy the core book for $30. So I'm looking at it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to run a Hunter game because I love Supernatural as well, and if I can have my players be the Winchesters, absolutely.
Nice.
But in the game of Vampire, the characters play as the bad guys, essentially. You're all recently or embraced kindred or vampires in this world. And they've had several decades of world building that goes into it. Stuff.
Yep. So these are the bad guys. These guys don't sparkle.
Okay. You are playing kind of you're playing morally gray because you want to maintain your humanity, because if you lose your humanity, you end up going full beast. But no.
Attributes and skills.
Yep. But no, if you go in sunlight, you burst into flames. And so when you click into one of those, it'll then pull up your sheets to assign that stat placement.
So I gotta click on the.
Yep. So click on that there, and it'll ask you which one to put it into.
It's telling me I got 4 points to spend. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah. So it uses the classic set alignment thing, which is everything is preset. So it's the 4-3-1, right. And then I'm open to however you want to assign your skills, because I think they all lead to interesting characters. If you want to do jack of all trades, balance, or specialist, I think they all lead to an interesting mechanic if everyone kind of does something a little different.
So I need dexterity.
Which clan did you pick, by the way? Or which?
Nosferatu.
I picked Nosferatu. Okay. They are ugly. They're god awful ugly.
They're ugly, but they're also strong and very smart.
Yeah. And they can hide.
Yes. In the World of the Masquerade, the Nosferatu maintained what essentially was the Kindred's internet, known as the Shreknet.
Shreknet.
Yep. So Nosferatu have an interesting combination of being incredibly strong, but also pretty skilled computer hackers.
Yeah, in fact, if I recall, during Vampire Trivia Night, that was one of the only questions I missed.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I blanked out Shreknet. I was like, I know this answer.
Wait, there's going to be a test on this?
No.
I'm in trouble.
Just one of our specials for Halloween last year was a monster trivia night, which, I mean, you can't really do like comic Thanksgiving specials. It's like, what do you do?
Right.
So you might just continue monsters for a little bit until we get into Christmas and Yule and all that. All right, so go on 4 strength and 3 resolve. And stamina. So Jose is going to be something of a tank here.
Mm.
With,
Somebody has to be.
physically, yeah. Yeah, you have one more 3 pip to place.
Yeah.
And while he's doing that, David, I'm actually going to resend you the invite to the group so you can get signed up and get all this stuff shared with you before making a character, so you don't need to worry about buying any of the books or anything.
What do I need for friggin' Obfuscate?
It's interesting to see what other people would pick.
Yes. So typically when I do a game like this is we do what's called a session 0, which is everyone gets around the table and rolls up characters. Kind of hard to do when you're all in different corners of the country working on a podcast. But that is one of the joys of it is everyone gets to see like, oh, that's a cool idea. I want to do this. And then people start like working in like their backstory with each other. Like, oh, if you did this, then maybe we met at this point. And that's why we're working together.
Right.
I mean, that's weird. So is my character going to be off-putting to... That's really interesting.
You're Salubri, right?
Yeah.
You would only be off-putting if you activated certain levels of your power.
Yeah.
The other thing that might be weird is if you were like...
I think the first 2 levels of it or whatever, you don't have, nothing happens. But like once you hit like 3rd level or something like that, or maybe it's the 2nd level, all of a sudden your eye opens up.
Yeah. And also like most characters in the world of Vampire is interesting that they've created reasons for why people of all different clans might end up working in the different factions that aren't necessarily where their clans are come to. So not all Salubri are members of the Sabbat, but it would be interesting to have in Orlando is an Anarch state, so to have a full-blown Sabbat believer show up in the middle of Anarch territory. It's like, what are you doing here? Get out.
Is there any advantage to, when you create your account, tying it to your Facebook, Twitch, or whatever? Or does it matter?
I don't think it matters at this point other than the ease of login. I went ahead and tied it to my Twitch just in case they do Twitch drops in the future or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay. Skills. How do I click on skills somewhere?
So you just choose if you want to do Jack of all trades, balanced, or specialist, and then it works the same way as attributes. So you'll click on the pip value and then click on the skill you wish to put it into.
Okay.
Yeah, specialist gives you that 4 pip, and then option. Balance gives you a lot of things sitting around 2.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we'll go Jack of all trades.
Okay.
See what happens. That should already place them.
And then you click on placement. Yeah. And Vampire is also an interesting system where, like, unlike D&D, where you essentially always have the way that the skill system works in D&D, where your attributes fill into your skills, and Vampire doesn't work that way. So it's very possible to not have any numbers in some skills.
Right.
That was Nikki.
I respect that. I was gonna do that one too.
Yeah. I believe Nosferatu get the option of picking up on the powers early on, where if you just stand still, you become invisible.
Was it unseen presence? That's
Yeah.
Cloak of Shadows. Cloak of Shadows means you just
Yes.
you're like Smokey from Friday.
Mm-hmm. In one game, I had a player who activated Cloak of Shadows while sitting in the back of an SUV. The other players went up, grabbed someone that they're going to interrogate, put them into the SUV, and so when the guy leaned in, he was suddenly touching a person that he didn't see, and it freaked him out.
So the only thing I didn't like about like Cloak of Shadows and even Unseen Presence is when you play a live action vampire, people are dumb and they want to get right up next to you to force you to have to kind of nonchalantly move to the side or shift footings. I was like, dude, it's not a push, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that was, I found rather interesting was how how goth kids in the 80s and 90s got, but then leading into White Wolf's legal issues, how that essentially led into the LARP scene in Vampire taking off, where you didn't get as much support for straight tabletop, so then people just created their own LARP communities and created their own rule kits for that.
Right.
So I believe David also had some experience with that as well.
LARP for Vampire is pretty fun.
Yeah, like I said, I did it one night. It was a lot of fun because I was totally in character. But as I mentioned, into that night, I actually went into full blown allergy mode.
Oof.
I'm oddly enough, some cats, like I have 3 cats, and we've had like 5 different cats, no problem. Some cats just send me into allergic reaction.
Yeah.
And also, I was in a house that they were doing construction, so there's a lot of sawdust that made that worse. So at the end of the day, I was sitting for like an hour and a half trying to get my breathing down and everything.
Jeez.
So, but the rest of the night up until that point I had a lot of fun, and it's just completely being that character and kicking, my normal self to the side and let's just go for it and see where it goes.
Absolutely.
Tim, give me a form of fighting.
For brawling, let's civic specialty. Ooh. I mean, I feel like, being true to myself, I have to go with kickboxing, right?
Okay.
Oh, be old world. Do something like Salat or like
What's Salat?
Salat or
Yeah.
like something weird like
So the former kickboxing I trained, I didn't do Shusha Muay Thai. I did K1 Dutch style kickboxing, which involved lots of and lots of stuff like that.
or do like some Burmese kickboxing or
Yeah.
something like this, something like weird. I don't know. It's so funny. Oh well, don't listen to me. Do what you want to do. It's
That's why I'm open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Quentin says, I think it means Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, combining judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I don't know. Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Quentin needs to find time to hop on next Tuesday and play.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man, what's? I'm trying to remember the name of Brazilian kickboxing now. It's what looks like dancing.
Oh, capoeira.
Capoeira, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool to see.
Right. Is it coming into frame and Nosferatu doing like a handstand overhead snap kick to the ear?
And everybody, I get to sing. We all get to sing in the rota. Ba-da-da way. And you just throw it out to people. That'd be so funny.
All right. Well, I created an account with it.
Okay.
So
see, you should have a invite sending notifications, or if you click on the link again, you might get ask you to request to join Silverline by night.
Okay. Did I get them all done?
Yeah.
Cool.
Gosh, you make me want to rethink some things, Jose. Dang it.
You have a whole week to rethink it if you wish to, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder.
And if you have questions, you can hit Tim up or you can hit me up. Like Tim up for questions about game stuff, me up for questions about character stuff.
Yeah.
If you want, because our character's gonna be interactive. So. Right. Placement, 2 disciplines. That's all I get.
But Tim, do you get to see these?
So
right now.
yeah, unfortunately in this system I don't get to see it right now. There is a way that you can share your sheet with me, but
I can just send you the link, right? I know I originally I didn't have it. I had it private.
Yeah.
Because anyone who has the link should be able to see it, so I should be able to send it to you, right?
Yeah, if you have it set to that and then you send me the share link with it, then yeah, I should be able to see it.
all right, I'm not seeing anything with Silverline or
Okay.
any of that.
Let me try another invite link here. Hopefully this one works.
Well, I did use your link to take me to it, and I put it in, but I'm not seeing anything.
Try that one again. Go. I'll refresh to see if my notifications can pop up. Yeah, just took me to the home page on that one, Cassisi.
Let me see one more time.
Oh.
Character builder. Oh, click. If you're just clicking the URL, I won't be able to see that from the URL, but there is a specific share character link in the character options menu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. Well, on mine, I've created and I'm logged into a screen where I'm seeing one platform, Endless Adventure, create account here. But I thought I already did that.
Okay. Yeah, if you're already logged in, then let me do this instead. What email did you use to send me in a message, the email that you used to sign up?
I think it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
It still took you to the home.
No, it's loaded for me. I can see it now. Okay, let me do this. There you go. Now it says you've been invited, so you should have something in your notifications.
I see something there that says Das Aggro.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I use my. That's a name I use for a lot of my stuff. So.
That's all right. Okay, so let me turn on. Go. Yep. Players joined your adventure. Go,
Right.
And content sharing. So now, when you go to create a character, David, you should have access to all the options.
Okay.
Okay, so we kind of talked over it, but for those of you also interested in what will be happening next week, Jose went through and picked out his powers.
Sorry.
Sorry. As Kindred, your clan, your bloodline has access to different vampire-like abilities. It kind of goes beyond some traditional vampire lore. A lot of it is inspired by Bram Stoker's Dracula and all that, but some of it goes into the more eccentric vampire lore that ended up getting made as more and more fiction got written. So your theming can go all the way from something a more classical side like a Dracula or Vlad Dracul, all the way up to insane like Lost Boys or Castlevania if you wish to. Now Jose is looking at his predator type, because not all vampires eat the same way. Some of them are picky, some of them do different things, and so those will each give you something that will affect your gameplay a little bit, as well as how you roleplay, how you eat. I had one character in one game who, one of my players, who picked I can't remember the name of the specific one, but it's the one where they have to eat someone's organs. Like they can't just like feed on the next. They have to just, yeah. So his character was a vigilante who went out, found a criminal, and then just absolutely slaughtered them and and put their kidneys on ice. And next week as well, Roland Mann of Silverline fame will be joining us as well, returning to his character. Willie Make It, yeah,
that's a great name.
Really good name. Who is a Ventru? He's a Ventru Osiris. I mean, yeah. If lungs are on the market, hearts, anything like that. Just after talking all night. Yeah. Okay. They picked up the pursuer predator type, so
oh my gosh, that's dark.
He likes hunting people down.
Yeah, I have to hunt them down.
Yeah.
Just remember, you just got to be faster than the other guy.
Yes.
And the way that Cassisi's been questioning his character, he may be the guy to beat. He may have to be a little faster than Cassisi.
I don't know. I kind of gave. I intentionally wanted to give my person the ability to be self-sufficient in that dark world, but at the same time, I'm probably the more moral person. Yeah.
Jose is going to get you.
Yeah. Well, that can be interesting dynamic that might form there. Is that is something that a lot of young kids struggle with in the lore, is maintaining your humanity while also acknowledging that you are now a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might have some older characters in your coterie that are like, "Nah, kid, just eat the kid. It's fine."
I struggled between a Salubri and a Thin Blood. I thought those were the two that were that would probably be more mentally.
Salubri used to break down into two different like branches, right? You were I don't remember what the ones, but there was the healer caste where like they used aspects of the healing of their power. Then there was the warrior caste, which took a different power called Valoran, and they were just like man, they were crazy.
Yeah, I think the warrior caste kind of got wrapped in with the Banu Hakim.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. But like, there's a lot of lore to like vampire. I mean, we don't have to know it when we play, but there's a lot of like lore. Like if you ever like got into it, like I got into playing vampire when it first came out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I read all the books, and I had all the clan books. You know what I mean? For was the first edition and second edition. Then I had them all for third edition, and then I stopped playing for a while, and then fifth edition came, and I don't have as many of the books as I used to, but like knowing like there's like more lore. Like there used to be the Tremere were like the wizards. They found a vampire and they made themselves vampires and brought themselves into that. You know what I mean? Into that world, and one of their biggest like chantries, one of their biggest like wizard communities was in Mexico City, and then the Second Sons dropped a nuke on Mexico City, just wiped them out.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's like a lot of like modern lore and stuff like that, but also like the fun thing about vampires is that a lot of like the old lore is kind of like either like intentionally repressed by the Camarilla or is like legend passed by the Sabbat. And a lot of modern stuff is kind of cloaked in shadows because both the Kindred and the Second Inquisition want to keep the general public unaware of what's happening. So, in a lot of campaigns and all things, the lore of the setting is almost treated more like a suggestion that you get played around with, where you could very easily have a character like saying like that's what people say it happened, but that's not what actually happened. Like there's a whole bunch of contention about who the first vampire actually was, if it was Cain or Set, and was Cain actually Set, or is there something else going on there? There's a whole lot of fun back and forth that happens, and as they pass things in the lore. Jose and David, don't click on it now because it will take you out of your character creation, but because Cece can do it now. But the fun thing is that now that you have content sharing from me, if you click on the sources tab in the Nexus, it'll actually give you a drop down of all the current 5th edition vampire books that you can read through in the browser.
I saw that. I didn't see him there originally, and then I saw him there today, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's what he was talking about as far as sharing and stuff.
Yeah. So with content sharing turned on, it gives players access to all the rule books and source books. And those having access to those rule books also unlocks all the different options in character creation. So nothing should be locked if you want to make any changes.
I mean, should I specifically be Oh, I guess they're all fit. Well, I see some 2nd edition books, but I should just be looking at the 5th edition.
Some of the stuff has been recopied over. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Got it.
Like speaking of 2nd editions, D&D 2nd edition source book for Planescape is finally getting pulled over to 5th edition.
Is it really?
Yes.
Crazy. Was it the City of Sigils?
City of Sigil, yeah.
Yeah, Planescape was crazy. That was just like, it's like what's that movie with Matt Damon? Adjustment Bureau?
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah, it's so good. Someone was asking me about it, and there's an isometric RPG like Baldur's Gate that you can actually play set in Planescape called A Torment. And they're like, that's interesting. I'm like, imagine a murder mystery, but everyone's on acid.
Yep.
Yeah. And so this is the page that I thought could have been cleaned up a little bit better, but your advantages and flaws can be merits, backgrounds, or lore sheets. It doesn't need to be in anyone in particular. So your backgrounds, you could spend all your points on wealth and a car if you wish to, or you could pick up a classic merit feat and be allergic to garlic. I think I don't think it'll come up, so I'm kind of spoiling it. I believe Willie Make It actually has the steak bait flaw. So normally when a kindred gets stabbed by a stake, they just get put into torpor and are unconscious until they can fully recover. If you are a steak bait, you just die.
I get to name my background?
You do.
Name my haven?
Yep.
I'm stuck on naming my character. So.
That is sometimes the hardest part of an RPG. Although my favorite part about the fact that Vampire the Masquerade is, in the most part, a modern setting. And Brian.
Brian.
Brian from accounting. You vampire. Del Taco.
Del Taco.
Got to get the branding in there.
That's right. I gotta come up with a description. I gotta think of something.
I guess I didn't do any of that. Huh?
I got weird names going through my head, like Taste Bad. Don't eat me.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what we do next week, but I'm gonna log for now.
All right.
All right.
Well, that is actually a good time. We have been live for a minute 45, so we will continue making our characters off podcast here. David, Jose, and I will be hanging out in our chat. But if you have been enjoying this, make sure to come out next week to actually watch us play Vampire Masquerade in a double-sized hour-long episode. And the week after that, we'll be talking about how playing RPGs can make you a better storyteller. So we'll see you next week. Until that time, make mine
Silverline.
Woo woo.
My name is Ross Ritchie from Boom Studios, and make mine Silverline.